hips to soften, allow the knees to soften. On your next inhale, just lengthen slightly through the crown of the head, so as if there's that piece of string that's drawing you up towards the ceiling. So lengthening through the spine as much as you possibly can, and on your next exhale, just allow that, keep the length, but just slightly soften into the spine. So in today's class, we're going to be working again, as of yesterday, we have worked with this idea of acceptance. So we're working still within that, but today we're working a little bit on backbends. This is really important when we come to anything like backbends or inversions, anything that feels quite strong, that feels quite open, feels a bit difficult. Because we really want to just go from where we're at with it, to work nice and slowly. We have our slow burn flow today. So work nice and slowly into the back. And just finding where that balance is for you, where that's right for you, and learning to kind of be okay in that space. So let's begin to fluff the eyes open. And as we inhale, we'll lift the hands up above the head, palms together at the top, draw those fingertips up nice and high, gaze to the thumbs, and exhale, drop the hands down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Big deep breaths, and exhale, draw the hands down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, draw the hands down. And this time we'll inhale, lift all the way up. And as we exhale, we'll twist over to the right hand side, placing the right fingertips to the side, to the back, placing the left hand onto the knee. Just give yourself a gentle twist in. Allow the shoulders to drop down. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, deepen that twist just a little bit. And then as we inhale, come all the way back to center. Good. Exhaling over to the left. Right hand onto the knee, left fingertips behind. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, twist. Inhale, come all the way back to center. We're going to do one more big breath on each side. Exhale over to the right, staying here for 1 breath. Inhale. And exhale, deepen the twist slightly. Inhale back to center. And exhale over to the left. Big breath here, inhaling. And exhale, twist. Inhale all the way back to center. Draw the hands down the center line. We're going to roll over onto all fours. So taking the knees directly into the hips, taking the wrists directly into the shoulders. Let's move through our cat-cow. On an inhale, we'll drop that belly down, we'll drop the chest between the shoulder blades, lift the gaze. Draw the shoulders back here. As we exhale, press through the hands, and really begin to round the spine. Again, inhaling, dropping that belly down, dropping the chest through, lifting the gaze. And on the exhale, rounding through the spine. Move through your own breath here and really clock in. Since we're working with the back today, really see how the back is feeling. So go through each vertebrae from the hips all the way through to the neck. And just begin to kind of get comfortable with the spine. If you want to move into any circles with your cat-cow, moving from side to side, please feel free. If you want to rock forwards and backwards as you do your cat-cow, coming into kind of these big circles that go over your wrists and back towards your heels, then also feel free to do that. So just starting to feel into the body, where feels good, where needs this morning. Just taking a couple more breaths here. So if you're going in one direction, change the direction. And then we'll slowly come back, table. From here, keep the hips directly over the knees. Begin to walk the hands forward. We're coming to our puppy pose. So for the puppy, we want the hands nice and far forward, with the hips directly on top of the knees, and begin to drop that chest down. Allow the body to release here. So today we're not going to do an active puppy pose. We're going to do a nice passive puppy pose. So for the passive puppy pose, we need to completely release into the shoulders. Draw the shoulders a little away from each other so they're not shrugging towards each other. And let the chest release downwards. If you're quite flexible, the chest can come down all the way to the mat, and you can place your chin onto the floor. Otherwise, you can just have your forehead on the floor. So we're going to stay in puppy just for a little bit. So puppy in these poses can be really good because often when we work into our back bends, we feel that it's our actual spine flexibility that isn't doing too much, that maybe isn't as flexible as we'd like. And we see people who get into mega back bends and it looks like their spine can kind of bend in half. And whilst that is true to an extent, your back does and your spine does become more and more flexible, actually a huge portion of it is in your shoulders. So what we want to do with the back bend is we want to try and ease off these shoulders. If you work out a lot, your shoulders will naturally be tighter as well. And if you spend a lot of time kind of sitting over a desk, your shoulders are going to be tighter. So things like our puppy pose really help, especially when we come into kind of a passive puppy pose, where we're just letting gravity do the work. We're really counteracting that. And this is going to help a lot with your back bend. So keep holding here. We'll just take a couple more deep breaths, inhaling. And exhaling. 2 more here. Inhale. On the exhale, see if you can lower the chest just a little bit more. 1 more deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. Begin to engage into the core and slowly lift yourself all the way back up. You might feel quite strong on your shoulders, or it might feel fine. So just see how it is. We'll take big toes together, take the knees lift away, and drop the hips down onto the heels. For child's pose today, just take the arms to the side of the legs. So we're letting those shoulders have a bit of an ease. You can take the head in one direction. And just staying here for a moment, closing the eyes, letting the head fall to one side, which other side feels right. And then another part with our back bends that takes a lot is our breath. So using the breath to really help you as you move through this. And how we can do that is by taking the breath and really elongating it. So as we breathe here, I'd like you to see if you can feel the belly or the chest against the thighs. And as you do so, as you take a big deep inhale, really feel that expansion into the thighs with the belly. And then as you exhale, feel that release as well on the thighs. Allow this and use this to start to really elongate those breaths. If your head is going to one side, just change the head to the other side and keep breathing here. And keeping that length in your breath. So as we get into a back bend, that's one of the things, especially when we look at something like acceptance, we want to keep that breath really long. And that's going to help us to move a bit deeper and to stay in these poses, especially when we're coming to a difficult pose and I'm asking you to hold. So we want to click into that breath, lengthen it. If we hold onto the breath, it's going to be much harder. It's going to be a lot less flexible. Just a couple more deep breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. Last big breath, inhaling, really feeling the expansion. And exhale. Begin to lift the head, place the hands back in front of you. We'll come back to our table pose. Tuck the toes underneath. And from here, draw the hips back. Press through the hands, lifting back to our downward facing dog. Just begin to walk that dog out. So again, clocking back into that breath. As we clock into that breath, we want to go slow with our walking dog. So drawing down through each hamstring, perfect. Really nice, everyone. Lifting the hips nice and high. Our downward dogs have kind of a semblance of puppy pose. It's a little less extreme, but we want that chest to really move through. So press through the hands and think about as if your legs are almost a little bit magnetic and they're drawing the chest through towards the legs. Good, everyone. Start to slow down the walking dog till eventually we just make our way to stillness. Good. And as we come into this stillness, bending through the knees, drawing the hips upwards. As we draw those hips upwards, that chest, perfect, moves through. That was lovely, Bethany. Draw that chest through. And then from this position, draw the shoulder blades slightly away from each other so they're kind of winging around the front of the body. And think about the backs of the knees pressing away. Good. Heels beginning to draw down. Holding here. We're going to take 3 more deep breaths in our downward facing dog in complete stillness. Inhaling, think about pressing down through the floor. And as you do that, we lift through the hips. And exhaling, 2 more deep breaths, beautiful. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big deep breath. Inhale, lift the hips nice and high. Exhale, draw the chest through. Good. From here, just bend through the knees, looking between the hands. And then we're going to step the feet forwards to meet with the hands. Take a halfway lift here. And then as you exhale, place both hands down to the ground. So both palms down, bend the knees as much as you need. Press down through the outer edges of the feet, let the head release. And then from this position, with the knees bent, with the palms down, we then work from here to lift the hips. So we're coming towards straightening the legs. You may not be there yet because it's 6:30 in the morning. So just bear with it. Holding here, 3 more deep breaths. Inhale, press down through the hands. And lift the hips. Draw the chest towards the thighs. 2 more deep breaths. Inhaling. Exhale, fold. Last big breath. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold back down. And on the inhale, we're going to roll through the spine all the way to standing. Nice and slow. Once you do get to the top, and there's no rush, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears and down the back, meeting in Ardhadasana. From here, from the top of the mat, we'll take big toes together, ankles slightly apart. Draw the fingertips down, lengthen through the crown of the head. As we inhale, lift the hands up above the head. And from here, we're going to shoot the hips a little bit forwards as we think about drawing these hands backwards. So we want the hips to move forward as we draw these hands backwards. So think of your poppy pose again. Think of the arms going further back than the head. So this big shoulder openness, stay with that breath. It can be really, really, you want to just pause, you want to just hold that breath. Really breathe into this. Big deep inhale. And then as we exhale, come all the way forward. We're coming to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back. We're moving through our chaturanga. So in our chaturanga, let's rock forwards first, either placing the knees down or coming straight down. Eyes the elbows forward, engage the core, lower down in one straight unit. As we inhale, move through your baby cobra or your upward facing dog. It's up to you today. Draw those elbows back, draw the chest forward, press through the toes. As we exhale, tuck the toes under, lift back, downward facing dog. Good. From here, let's lift the right leg nice and high. We're just going to open the hips a little here. So stack that right hip on top of the left. Drop the heel towards the bump. And then move that heel towards the left hip. Hold here. See what's going on with the shoulders. Naturally, they'll have moved over to kind of go towards the right hand side. See if you can straighten out the shoulders. They're in line with the mat while still pulling that right heel towards the left hip. Press through the back of the knee, of the left knee. Inhale, lift the hips. And exhale. Last big breath here, inhaling. And as you exhale, just release that leg back to straight. Begin to align the hips. They're towards the mat. And then bend through this left knee. Look between the hands. Draw the right knee towards the chest. Step that right foot through. Good. From here, place that back foot so that the arch of the back foot is in line with the heel of the front foot. The back foot comes to a 45-degree angle. We want a nice wide gap, nice long gap between the front and the back foot. And then we inhale, lift all the way up. We'll come to a warrior one. So for our warrior ones, this isn't our lunge. We want the back foot completely on the ground. For this, we want to really push through that back knee. So push that back knee out so it's really straight and strong, this back leg. Then we want to draw the right hip back, draw the left hip forward, lower slightly into the hips, and engage into the navel. So we scoop that navel in. We bend the right knee. What you may find here is that maybe you need to pop that back foot in slightly. just to get this alignment right. That's fine if you need to do that. We can lift the hands nice and tall. Lift the hands. Draw the navel in. And we can slightly take an almost mini back bend here. So this is not very much at all. We're not really trying to go far back. We're just lifting the hands and then see if you can draw these arms almost behind the head. That's why we're lifting too. That's it. Not a big back bend. We're going to hold this pose in our warrior one. Beautiful, really nice. Inhale, draw that belly in. Good. And exhaling. Inhaling. As you exhale, drop the hips a little more. Good. Inhaling. And exhaling. Keep going. Inhaling, lift the hands. And exhaling, drop the hips. We're taking 5 more breaths. You can do it, you can keep holding. Inhale. And exhale. 4 more. Inhaling. Lift those arms a little bit further behind you. And exhaling, beautiful. Yeah, really great, Nicola. 3 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Keep holding, last big breath. Inhale here. And as you exhale, keep holding your warrior one. Release your hands, interlace your hands behind your back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Lift the chest. And then we're going to fold forwards into a humble warrior. So we keep that front knee bent and we drop the right shoulder to meet the inside of the right knee. Allow the head to maybe look back towards that left knee. It's a big balance as well. Lift the arms up and over. Holding here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhaling. Squeeze those hands together. And exhale. Draw them over the head. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. Inhale and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Yeah, a bit of cramp. 5 more breaths here. We're halfway. Inhale and exhaling. You can do it. 4 more. Inhale. Exhale, drop the hips a little lower, drop the arms over. Good. 3 more breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. Just 2 more. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath here in humble warrior. I promise it's going to get over. Inhale. And exhale. As we inhale, lift all the way back up, straight in through that front leg. Good. Take the hands to the hips. Draw this back foot in slightly. So we've got quite a narrow stance. And from here, we're going to come to a pyramid pose. So you have an option here. You can either grab hold of the elbows, or you can bring the hands between the shoulder blades and come into a reverse prayer, whichever feels right. From here, keeping this in line, so we still want that front heel in line with the back arch of the foot. Lift through the chest, and as we exhale, we're going to fold forward. Gaze to the toe. Good. Every inhale, lengthen through the crown. And every exhale, we fold. Beautiful. Big, deep inhales. Big, deep exhales. See if you can get that left shoulder just a little bit lower down. Good. Very nice. Inhaling. And exhaling. Stay with the breath. The breath is the friend. We're just doing 2 more breaths here. It's not a long hold. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Inhaling here. Exhale, fold. And as you inhale, make your way all the way back up. Good. From here, release the hands. We're going to step the feet together. So stepping the feet together. And from here, we're going to come to a dancer pose. We're going to hold our dancer pose. So this is really where that theme of acceptance comes in. So this might be very strong, it might be very difficult. Come to whichever stage feels right for you, because we're going to hold that pose. So for dancer, what we want is we really want to get your foundation very solid. So really think about pressing into this left foot. So lift the toes up, spread them out, press them down. Really engage into the left foot, into the ankle, the calf, the knee. We don't need to hyperextend, but we just want a soft little micro bend into the thigh and the hip. Then we can begin to lift that right leg. We'll feel quite stable. Engage into the core, length through the crown. From here, find a point ahead of you. So this is kind of on your horizon. Find a point ahead of us and click into that point. For me, that's hard. There's like nothing on the wall. From here, we're just going to take that back foot in towards us. So the right foot goes in towards you. If you need to have a wall next to you, you can. That can help with your stability, but try not to. And then from here, we're going to draw the hands over the toes and all the way around to the inside foot. Keep engaged. And what we want to do in our dance pose is we want to think about taking this back foot in towards our hand. Take the left hand out in front of us to give a little bit of balance. Push that foot into the hand. Keep the chest risen as much as you can. The hips aligned with the ground. Lift, lift, lift through the back foot and lift the chest and hold here. Inhaling. Good. And exhaling. If you fall out, just go through the steps and come back in. Inhaling. Good. And exhaling. Lovely. Still press into that back foot. Inhale. And exhale. Keep the hold. You can do it, Nicola. Inhale. And exhale. We're taking a few more breaths here. Inhaling. At this point, if you want to exhale and drop the chest a little lower and lift the foot a little higher. Good. We're taking 2 more deep breaths. I know this is a hard pose. Stay with it. Inhaling. And exhaling. Brilliant, everyone. Last big breath here. Inhale. As you exhale, engage the core. Really slowly come all the way back down to stillness. Wonderful. I promise the second side is always easier because you know what's coming. Let's come to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, palms to the floor. Head releases. Inhale, halfway lift. And then as we exhale, let's step back and move through our chaturanga, move through our vinyasa. So rock forwards first, either knees down or straight down, halfway. Inhale to baby cobra or upward facing dog. Peel the chest through, press through the toes, lift the hips if you're in upward dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, we'll lift straight through that left leg. So left leg into 3-leg dog, and then we need to stack the left hip on top of the right and drop this heel back. So the left heel is drawing towards that right hip. Think about the shoulders here, so they naturally go towards the left. Try to keep them in line with the mat. As we draw, 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 and pull that foot towards the right hip. Extend through the back knee, through that right back knee. Lift the hips and draw the chest through. One more big breath here, inhaling. As you exhale, release that foot all the way back to our 3-leg dog. Bend through the right knee. Draw the left knee in towards the chest. Stack that foot through. Take the back foot onto the floor, 45-degree angle. Make sure that back arch of the foot is in line with the front heel and lift yourself to warrior 1. Bend through that left knee, straighten through the back leg and drop the hips slightly down. Draw the left hip back, right hip forward. Keep the hands lifted. And again, so this is kind of a micro back bend. So all we're looking to do here is draw the core in and then see if you can extend these hands a little behind the head. So we're not really looking to go into a full back bend. We're just really looking for the shoulder extension in this pose. Good, we're gonna hold, inhaling and exhaling. Lovely, everyone. Inhaling and exhaling. Press through that back leg. Draw the core in, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling here and exhale. 5 more deep breaths. Inhaling, drop the hips slightly and exhale. Good. Inhaling, draw the core in and exhale. Arms slightly further back. Inhaling, 3 more and exhale. Doing brilliantly. This is gorgeous. Inhale and exhale. Last big breath here. Inhaling. And as you exhale, let's release the hands inside and behind the back. Draw the chest upwards, squeeze those hands together, and then release the chest down. So taking this left shoulder to meet the inside of the left knee, and changing the gaze that it's moving towards that back knee. Holding here in our humble warrior. Good. Big, deep inhale. Big, deep exhale. Yeah, so just interlacing those hands. Good. And then lift it. Yeah, perfect. Lifting them up and over. Great. So it's not reverse prayer. It's just interlacing the hands and lifting them up and over. Yes, there you are. Fab. Good. Not quite there yet. Sorry. Inhale. Exhale. Lower the hips slightly. Inhaling. Lift those arms up and over. Good. As if somebody's kind of got some pressure on the hands and they're just lifting them a little bit more, just pushing them a little bit further towards the floor. Inhaling. And exhaling. We're almost halfway through. Inhale. And exhale. 5 more breaths here. Inhaling. Exhale. Lower the hips. Draw the hands over. Good. Squeeze them together. 4 more breaths. Inhale. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good. Just 2 more breaths. Big, deep inhale. Big, deep exhale. Last breath. Inhale. And exhale. As you inhale, engage with the core, lift all the way up, straighten this front line. Release the hands. You can draw this back foot in slightly, and we're coming to our reverse prayer on the other way, our pyramid on the other way. So take whichever elbow feels weird, so the other elbow, or come into your reverse prayer. Draw the right hip forward, draw the left hip back. Hug the thighs together, so squeeze the legs, lift through the chest, and as we exhale, we fold forward. As if the chest can reach the toes, we're just holding for 5 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Good, lovely. Inhaling. Squeeze those thighs together. Good, and exhale. 3 more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. 2 more. Inhale. Really reach through that crown of the head. Exhale, fold. Last big breath, inhaling and exhaling. As we inhale, engage through the core, lift all the way back to center, release the hands. We're going to step the feet together. So we're coming to our dancer pose again. So if you know, maybe you need a wall next to you, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll try and do this without. So again, main things are, we want to use our breath. So really elongate the breath, stay with the breath. We want to ground through that right foot and want to find that point ahead of you, just lock into that point. So lift the right toes up, spread them out, pressing down to the ground. Start to root down through the foot, so as if there's roots growing through that foot, into the ankle, into the calf, into the thigh, the hip, so we can lift this left foot up. Find that point ahead of you, find that gaze. And then from here, tuck that back foot in. So tucking the left foot in towards you. Spin the hands around so they go over the toes into the inside of the foot. Keep the shoulder drawing forwards. And then take the hands forward to reach towards that spot that you're looking at. From here, lift, lengthen through the crown. And then we're going to push that back foot in towards the hand. And we can lower the chest slightly. But we still want to think about the chest lifting. Press through that back foot. And we hold. Good. Beautiful. Inhaling. You may find that one side is a lot easier than the other side, or one side can go a lot higher than the other side. That's fine. Just stay with it. Keep pressing into that leg, drawing the foot up, up, up. Good. Keep holding. And now you can begin to lower the chest a little more. So the chest is coming towards parallel as we lift the foot a little higher. So it's just slightly different. Good. Really nice. Keep that gaze, keep the breath. See if you can keep the hips aligning towards the mat, so we're not opening them out. Good, we've just got 2 more deep breaths here, you can do it, inhaling. And exhaling, last big breath, push that foot into the hand, inhale. Good, as we exhale, take control of the core and slowly, slowly release all the way down to the floor. Well done, dance pose is super hard, so good work. Okay, let's go to the top of the mat. We're just going to do one last vinyasa. Inhale, lift the hands. Exhale, palms to the floor, head releases. Exhale, inhale. We come back to an inhale. into this halfway lift. Exhale, palms down, step back, move through your chaturanga, finding the option of choice for you. Inhale to baby cobra or upward facing dog, and exhale to a downward facing dog. From here, we're going to look between the hands, bend the knees. I'm going to step or float the feet to a cross-legged position. Lovely. Okay, we have one final kind of big back bend, and we're going to finish then. This is a nice twist. So for this, we're coming to our camel pose. So camel is a very hard pose. It's a very kind of advanced pose, even though it's taught in a lot of classes, but it's a very advanced pose because we need to really, really think about our alignment in this and make sure that we don't hurt the lower back. So we're going to have a few different variations. So for camel, what we want is we want the knees directly into the hips. So we don't want them together. We want them wide, kind of where your hip bones are. So feel where they are, draw down. That's where you want the knees to be. I'm going to show you it from this angle. Tuck the toes under. We'll do a nice tuck with the toes and take the hands to the hips. So from here, actually, we'll take the hands to the back. So we want to support the back. So we'll take the hands all the way to the lower back. So with camel, if you don't know camel, I'll just show you, don't go into this. It's this one where you can release into that camel, like hump. So with camel, what we really want to do is we want to think about this length coming through. So we're not just trying to get all the way back. We don't want to dump any weight in the back. This is a really big pose. It's a really long pose. We're thinking a lot more about the chest. So we want to think a lot more, as we're doing these shoulder openers, we think a lot more about this upper part of the back than we do the bottom part of the back. So we want to think about that chest, lifting upwards and back from here. The way to do this is to start to take your hips forward as you go. So we start by moving the hips forward, and then I want you to think about this chest moving up towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulders drawing back, and we just go to here. We just push the hips forward as we lift the chest upwards, draw the shoulder blades together, and breathe, inhaling. Good, and exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Hold here. If this feels okay, at any point you can come out. If this feels okay for you and you're lifting through the chest, you can begin to take the hands back to meet the ankles. But again, it's quite advanced. Draw the shoulders forwards when you're doing this. They're not squeezing together. We push the hips forward and we lift the chest upwards. So if it feels too much, just come straight out of it. Good, that's really, really nice. Lovely, perfect, great positioning with shoulders. Good. Holding here for 2 more breaths. If you can, don't worry, we're going to come back in. So if you finished, that's fine. Last big breath here, big deep inhale. Big deep exhale. Good. And as you inhale, push from the hips first. Draw those hips forward. Good, good. The head is the last thing. Lovely. Okay, great. Fantastic, everyone. Really, really well done. Fantastic camels. We're going to do our camel one more time. So you have the option that you can do that one again. If that felt fine for you, so you can take a little rebound, you can do a little cat-cow right now, if that feels nice. You can take that option again, where we simply go backwards, and then maybe we begin to reach towards the ankles. Please don't try and do it with the feet down. It's such a bigger distance. It's really far. So keep those ankles up. The other one we can try is a different variation of the camel. So this is now going to work a lot with the core. And this is why we want to be really stable. So if you have any feelings of lower back pain, I would opt with just staying with this position and just working within that and seeing how that feels for you. If you didn't and you'd like to kind of test yourself a little more, we can take the hands to prayer position. We want to soften the shoulders down. It's the exact same thing. We want to engage into the core, draw the hips forward, lift from the chest upwards. Chest moves upwards, and we're doing this all with our core. You can let the head then release backwards in this pose. So you can play around with that pose, good. And then there's an optional variation from there as well. If you want to go even further, and this is quite a lot, this is really gonna test the core, you can from here begin to lift the hands up and behind you. This is a big one. Good. Lovely, yeah, really nice. Good. Keep the chest lifting upwards and then shoot the hips forward to allow yourself to lift back. Good. So it's kind of that distribution of balance. Beautiful. Really nice, Julie. Great, Billy. Lovely, Bethany and Nicola. Good. Just take 2 more breaths here. If you're still in camel, inhaling. Exhaling, shoot those hips forward, forward, forward. Good, nice. Last big breath, inhale. And exhale, come all the way forwards. Head is the last thing. Release down, come into a nice little cat-cow. Good, everyone. Camel's really strong. It's a very, very strong pose. We all did brilliant, brilliant job in that. So just move through your cat-cow, taking any kind of circles that you might need. And camel's a really good one for this thing today of kind of accepting where you're at, because it can be very easy to want to let the kind of ego go away with itself in terms of taking the feet down and going as far as you possibly can. And with this one, it's a bit of a humbling pose. You really have to just work with where your body's at right now. But a large portion of camel is really how open your shoulders are. And then working into the upper back as opposed to the lower back. From here, let's just take cross the legs over, and we'll come all the way down onto the mat. So we're just going to come into some twists and then a lovely shavasana. So for this, we'll come all the way onto the mat, take the feet onto the floor. And then from here, we'll draw the knees in towards each other. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then we can take the arms out to a T shape or a cactus shape, whichever feels right. Keep the core engaged and just allow the knees to flop over to the left-hand side. If you can, keep the right shoulder remaining on the floor. So the right knee doesn't need to be touching the left knee. And you can begin to hold on to that right thigh with the left hand, if you like. Take the gaze over to the right-hand side. Begin to close the eyes. Just allow yourself to release into this twist. And slowly, we'll make our way all the way back to neutral and changing sides. So dropping those knees over to the right-hand side. Maybe taking the right hand onto the left thigh. Gaze over towards the left. Allow yourself to release into this pose. Closing the eyes, softening through the body. And slowly begin to draw the knees in towards you. Again, just give them a little bit of a squeeze. And then we can let the legs rest all the way out, coming into our shavasana. If you need anything for under the knees, if you want to put any socks on or a jumper, please do. And then we can take the backs of the hands onto the floor, a little away from the body. Let the feet flop out, let the hands flop. Soften through the shoulders. And begin to close the eyes. Take a big, deep inhale. Exhale out through the mouth, letting everything go, and then coming back to the natural breath. Allowing the body to be heavy on the mat, softening down into the ground. Beginning to work with an affirmation, just saying this affirmation 3 times in your head to yourself. I accept myself and my body where I am today. I accept myself and my body where I am today. Soften the gaze behind the eyelids, taking the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Letting go of any unconscious tension held in the stomach and tummy. And then beginning to deepen that breath, taking a big, deep inhale in through the nose. Big, deep exhale out through the mouth. Wiggling the fingertips and the toes. Stretching the arms up above the head onto the floor behind, the legs too. Giving yourself a full body stretch. Big, deep inhale. And on an exhale, draw those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a hug. Give yourself a squeeze. And then from there, rolling over onto whichever side of the body serves you today. Staying there for a moment for a beat. And then slowly drawing all the way back up to a seated position. Closing the eyes if they've reopened and taking the hands to the heart center when you're back. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Big deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, soften the head down towards the hands. Release that breath. And then flutter the eyes open.